Sorry about that. I had to start a second video. I guess I reached my max amount of time, but make sure to show my findings and show why this plan will be successful for each student and stakeholder that is involved. I think that's very important when we're talking about our action plans that, we're very transparent in what we're doing. A little bit of talking about creation, implementation, and evaluation. So number one, with creation, set up procedures to collaborate with stakeholders effectively. Look to collaborative group for their visions and values. Create a group of values that are the most important for the future of all students and adults. Use the values to finalize the mission for the new middle school. So, get everyone's input, put it all down on a piece of paper, and then evaluate each one of those and come up with the best mission statement. A little bit of implementation. Use missions to direct the future of the middle school. Make the mission statement available to all stakeholders in the community. I think that's important for the community to get behind what you're doing. Follow through with the goals of the mission statement. Make the mission statement a trigger point that will help you help students. And that was from Lynch on 2018. Looking at evaluation, continuous evaluation is needed. Consistent checks with stakeholders to see if the mission statement is being used in an effective manner. I don't think you can ask people enough, like, hey, are we doing a good job? Are we following what the vision was that we came up with in the first place? I think that's really important to do that. And then the last thing is, don't be afraid to revise the statement to better reflect the school's evolving educational values, operational strategies, and learning goals. That's from Sabat 2015. Make this thing a living statement, right? It doesn't have to be the same for the next 50 years. We know that things are going to change. Technology is going to change. Kids are going to change. Society is going to change. So I think my big thing in my action plan is that you got to make it clear that, hey, if this thing's not working, we need to go ahead and change it. A little bit more talking about pros and cons. Pros is collaboration will get the best outcome. Number two, use of several teams, like Gordana talks about in his article. Students, parents, educators, administrators, those are all things that you need to look at. Solid set of ground rules for how the collaboration will go. 4, goals of the group will be clear and precise, focusing on the current and future success of each student and adult involved. Letting the mission be a living document and allowing it to grow. All those are really pros of what I think my action plan has in it. I think the one thing that Principal Potter could have done a little better is have that group really discuss the set of rules on how the group is going to work. I think she tried to put it out front. And like I said too, is get the administration involved, upper administration like the superintendent, and get a little bit better direction than what they got. I think she kind of got railroaded a little bit into where she was, and I know that made her feel uncomfortable. Couple cons. With mine, obviously, there's going to be a lot of data collection because you're going to be going outside of the committee even to get, values and things. So you're going to have to put that together. That could be a little bit lengthy. Collaboration will take time to plan and get everything set up correctly to be effective. Like getting everybody in one place at one time to really sit down and talk about these things is going to be a difficult situation with everyone's different schedules and, kids and everything else. So I think it's important that you do that, but I think it's going to be a little bit difficult. And then obviously ethical issues could raise due to self-interest. I think that's a con whenever you do collaborative things, no matter what. There's always going to be an opportunity for people to really want the best for their kids or themselves or whatever it may be involved. And that self-interest really could be a con in the long run. Developing the plan. So really talking about the final reflection will bring the best product for the future. Plan implementation will bring clarity and depth to each individual student and adult by making the mission statement a clear goal of the school. And I think goals and the mission statement kind of go hand in hand. Use the plan to create programs that will reinforce the mission statement through multiple levels of supports and assets, such as like tutoring after school programs. That could be band, sports, whatever that may be, but those are supports and assessments that you can look at. Student support groups, and all these things can be assessments of how the mission is going. Last but not least here is set parameters on how to evaluate the mission statement as time progresses. I think it's really important that you constantly evaluate your mission statement and your vision and your, just the goals of what those are. Make sure that we're using current data and technology and professional means to make sure our stakeholders are represented in a fair and equitable manner. Because I think it's important to know your demographic, and you got to make sure that you're fair and that your mission statement is covering everybody. Talking about implementation, the mission and vision statement will benefit all students and adults involved. I think this is important to make sure that, the action plan will be laid out by all stakeholders in its development. Precise parameters for evaluation and possible changes to the statement will help make the school a positive environment for all kids throughout the changes required in a high-level learning institution. Students and educators will be key stakeholders. All right, those will be people that are very, very important in this implementation and collaboration. I think you got to look at these two key stakeholders as students and educators. I mean, they're the ones that are going to be doing it every day. So I think you really have got to get them on board from the very beginning. And I don't think that was a situation with the committee that the superintendent set up for Principal Potter. Their feedback will be crucial to a successful school mission and the attainment of goals set by the collaborative group. So like I talked about earlier, if everyone's working together on setting up the mission and the goals and everything else, the implementation will probably be a lot smoother and the outcome and goals will be attained. Last but not least, just talking about program standard integration. First of all, with correlation, I felt like this activity was great as far as, me being a future school leader. It really helped with ethical conflicts that may occur when in that role. And I think that we've got to keep our ethics at the forefront of our mind when we're making decisions. I think it really showed the importance of stakeholders and how their input on key decisions is so important to current and future success of each student and adult. I think that is done Principal Potter saw it. Like, if she's not getting input, then it's going to be very difficult to make a true, vision or mission statement for an area that she doesn't even really know. She needed that input. Working collaboratively to implement a core set of values, and she wasn't getting that from them either. All right. And I think that's important for her to know, what are their values in that community, and, so she can ensure a much higher success rate for the institution and its stakeholders in the community. Relevance. When looking at this case study, it has answered a lot of questions for me about processes that need to be followed for the betterment of the school, like, setting clear processes up that are going to help you be successful. The fact that the committee chair did not want to have any input, really hit home with me. I've been in groups that do not have set goals or parameters of operation, and they have a tendency that the outcome is not as successful as one that has very set standards and goals. This case study has helped me understand ways to make the collaboration more successful. And I can't stress that enough as far as like relevance to me, with my PLCs that I do here at school. Like, sometimes we don't have very good direction. Other days we do. And I can always see a higher success rate on those days when we have a little bit better direction. This case study has affected my future as a school leader in many ways. It made it clear that ethics needs to always be an important thing in all situations. I think, first of all, that committee put Principal Potter in a very awkward position ethically. She knows that there needs to be collaboration, and they just basically, ran her over and didn't let her do it. The idea of being forced to do something alone when collaboration is needed really set an alarm with me when it comes to ethics. The idea of vulnerability in future situations, going down that path, is something I would not want to be a part of. As a future leader, I truly have come to a good understanding about the setting clear boundaries and goals through this case study. I think that is so key when you talk about this. Last but not least, here's my references. I went back and took about 5 out of some other things, but I really enjoyed this and I really enjoyed the class. I've learned a lot, and I appreciate everyone's time. Thanks.